How we doing, everybody? This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert, a NASCAR and racing podcast. Just like that, we are back on track in 2026, this time for the Allentown Indoor Races, January 9th and 10th at the PPL Center. Drove out to Allentown earlier this evening, was walking the pits, drivers were getting all ready. Tonight is Friday night, slingshots, champ cars, and of course, what everyone's here to see, the quarter TQ midgets will be in action tonight. This is my first time out in Allentown for the indoor race. Pretty interesting. Also, stay tuned to all of our social medias. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. I'll be keeping you up to date from all the action out here in Allentown. Back in studio, but what a great time in Allentown, was truly a blast. Now, as the light for Daytona is visible in the off-season tunnel, teams are gearing up in full force in the garages for the approaching season. We'll keep you updated with the NASCAR Offseason news. There is so much to break down and still plenty of racing action to keep us going. We'll break down all the action from Allentown, plus preview the Chili Bowl Nationals for the 40th running of the world's greatest midget race, where the top talent in dirt racing tackles the famed Chili Bowl Nationals. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, Corey Day, Buddy Kofoid, Ricky Thornton Jr., Sheldon Creed, Kaylee Bryson, Tulsa Shootout winner Jonathan Beason, Briggs Danner, Snyder Jr., Cale Coons, and many more will be ready to put it all on the line in Oklahoma. Discussions with Dave keeps you up to date with the exciting driver announcements and playoff changes with NASCAR. Paint scheme of the week, exclusive Splash of Gas interview with Cup Series driver Noah Gragson, and so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Now, the recap from Allentown, starting with Friday night. As mentioned, drove out to Allentown for the indoor races. Was my first time there. It's at the PPL Center, the home of the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, AHL team of the Philadelphia Flyers. You know me, a huge fan of short track racing. I must say, having the arena concessions definitely made me feel a little bit spoiled, but still, nonetheless, a great venue and so much fun. Had a pit pass and was catching all the action in the pits. The pits is really in a parking garage. It's a lot tighter than you think. Had to keep your head on a swivel there. Still, nonetheless, great time. Met some good people as well. A very fun event. You should check it out next year. Now for the racing action from Friday night, starting with the Champ Karts, 20-lap main event, Missy Boots in third, Quentin Graham in second, and Doug Steerley coming out with the win. Slingshots, Paulie Hartwig, the third, coming out in third, Tyler Olsch in second, and Dylan Hooch getting the 20-lap win. Now the main event of the night, the TQ quarter midgets. Briggs Danner thrilled the hometown faithful Friday night, charging around the outside of Sean Nye on a mid-race restart, then fending off a late surge from Trevor Catalano to capture the Irontown Global Allentown Indoor Race. This win marks the first indoor victory for the 24-year-old Danner, who rolled off from the pole for the 30-lap feature. Danner controlled the early part of the race, but faced his toughest competition of the night when Nye slipped underneath him exiting turn 2 to take the lead following a restart on lap 11. But that didn't stop Danner. He capitalized on another late restart, putting his 78 back up front. Nonetheless, the battle wasn't over. A spin by Paulie Hartwig III off turn 2 with 10 laps remaining set up a late restart, giving Nye a new opportunity to get up front. Could he? With the finish line in sight, Danner pulled away decisively this time, while Catalano, who carved his way through the field from 14th, followed Nye into second. Calm and composed under pressure, Briggs Danner clicks off 10 laps, hitting all the marks, which seals the victory for him. Catalano finishes second, with Scott Kruder completing the podium in third. A scary moment early in the feature when Manasquan native Ryan Flores unfortunately had his fuel line come loose and caught on fire. Thankfully, Ryan was okay. Now for the recap from the second night of action on Saturday night. Champ Karts, another 20-lap main event. Todd Crenshaw in third, Doug Steele in second, and Quentin Graham Jr. wins it. Slingshots for another 20-lap main event. Brett Bieber in third, Tyler Olsch in second, Dylan Hooch comes out with the win. Along with Flores, another driver who has won his fair share of races in Allentown is Andy Jankowiak, who races in the ARCA series also. Saw Andy J at the Turkey Derby where we interviewed him. Andy wasn't racing Friday night. He was in Daytona testing the ARCA car. They tested again on Saturday morning. Andy gets in a plane and makes it to Allentown just in time for the start of the TQ heats. Once the race got going for the 40-lap feature on Saturday night, Tommy Catalano, Ryan Flores, Scott Kruger, Matt Swanson, Tim Buckwalder would all be up front battling for the lead. With 11 laps remaining, Scott Swanson followed Ryan Flores closely and seized his opportunity, slipping past Catalano to move into second place. A caution 1 lap later tightened the field and put Swanson alongside Flores on the restart, setting the stage for an intense showdown. From the restart, Swanson was hot on the tracks of Flores, ready to pounce. He briefly tried to move Flores by nudging the rear of the 15, but Flores held the bottom line strong. Just when the opportunity might slip away for Swanson, the yellow flag flew with 5 laps to go. When the green flag dropped, Swanson executed a perfect restart nearly, going side by side with Flores and taking the front spot. Ryan applied heavy pressure to Swanson in the remaining laps, but just couldn't catch him. Matt Swanson is victorious in Allentown Saturday night in the TQ Quarter Midgets. What a fabulous time for sure. Predictions look back for Allentown did not go well. Friday night, Flores unfortunately goes up in flames. For Saturday night, I went with Andy J. He was starting at the back of the field as he got to Allentown just in time for his heat race, with him testing the ARCA car earlier that day. Andy finished the main event in 5th. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is, Kyle Busch has ran a lot of paint schemes throughout his career. He is known most for his time behind the wheel of the M&M's car. How many Cup Series wins does Kyle have with the M&M's paint scheme? Answer coming at the end. Now for discussions with Dave, part 1. Jimmy Johnson will be back in the Daytona 500. Jimmy and Legacy Motorsports will use NASCAR's open exemption provisional to guarantee Johnson's starting spot as one of the 41 cars that will be in the 2026 Daytona 500. Remember talking about the open exemption provisional when this rule came out? I believe it was before the beginning of last year. Trackhouse Racing was the first organization to use this provisional last year in the 500 when Helio Castroneves made his NASCAR Series debut. Being in person for the last 2 duels, you knew Jimmy had to race his way into the 500, and that made it exciting from the grandstands. Totally don't blame Legacy Motorsports for using this provisional. Jimmy will again be sponsored by Carvana. Makes a lot of sense for the sponsors to already know and have that assurance that they'll be in the Great American Race. Next topic on DWD and more Jimmy Johnson news. He will be back in the Truck Series. Tricon Garage announced that NASCAR Hall of Famer and 7-time Cup champ Jimmy Johnson will make his return to the Truck Series for the inaugural race at the Naval Base Coronado in San Diego. Jimmy's a California native, a NASCAR legend as we know. Last time I saw Jimmie Johnson run a road course was in an Indy car. Can't wait for him to be back in the Truck Series. Great for the sport. And also, it gives the servicemen and servicewomen of the naval base an upfront chance to see a 7-time NASCAR champ. Moving right along, this is one of the topics that everyone in the sport has been talking about. Colleague racing. We know they're going to be with Ram, but they unveil a Race for the Seat reality show. Yes, you heard me right. Butterbean Queen, Justin Haley, Daniel Dye, we already know will be racing for Colleague. They have their seats secure. Been waiting to hear who the fourth driver was going to be that would be full-time in the trucks. Now we know Colleague and Ram's plan. It will be a reality show format with a tagline, 15 drivers, 10 challenges, 1 seat. The first episode will premiere on Fox January 25th, with 7 episodes airing on Ram's YouTube channel. The winner will join Colleague on a full-time basis. The 15 drivers are Austin Beers, Mike Christopher Jr., Minnie Tyrrell, Cody Kelly, Casey Kelly, Carson Ferguson, Cade Brown, Ryan Gemmel, Chase Burrow, Jonathan Cash, Tanner Reif, Landon Huffman, Grant Gierschbach, Jarrett Fryer, and Trevor Ward. Each of these 15 guys are alone, have talent. A couple of the names stand out to me: Minnie Tyrrell, Landon Huffman, and Cade Brown. Cade Brown won the 2023 South Carolina 400, and he was the first ever driver I interviewed. So we'll be pulling for him a little bit more. Nonetheless, this is awesome, great for the sport. It gets guys that might not have the funding to go on a national series, as we see some top names in legend cars and late model racing mixed in. As a NASCAR fan and just a big sports fan in general, I'm not the biggest reality TV fan at all, to be completely honest. But I will tell you, I will be tuning in to each and every episode. This is exciting. One driver will get a chance of a lifetime with a full-time truck season. Who will come out on top? We'll keep you posted on that. Moving right along, more Truck Series news, and it's dealing with the Colleague Racing free agent truck. As we know, Colleague will have 5 full-time Ram trucks. 4 of them will be running for the championship, and 1 will be the free agent truck, the 25. The plan is to have NASCAR veterans and up-and-coming drivers. So sounds like with this reality TV show, even if you don't win the full-time seat, seems like there is other opportunities around the veterans to get in a truck. But they did announce one of the veterans for Daytona, and it is awesome, folks. We were just talking about Jimmie Johnson coming back to the Truck Series, but smoke rises back to the Truck Series. Tony Stewart will be hopping in the Ram 25 for Colleague Racing for the Truck Series opener at Daytona on February 13th. The Hall of Famer hasn't driven in NASCAR since 2016. His participation comes on the heels of what NASCAR unveils, the Chase Championship format, a system in which Tony won 2 of his 3 championships in. In a statement during the release, Stewart said, "I've raced just about everything with 4 wheels at Daytona, but never a truck. So when a seat in the new Ram was offered up for their first race back in NASCAR, I didn't hesitate. Ram's free agent program is another great way for me to stay sharp and have a little fun." Needless to say, I am pumped for this announcement. Think we'll see some old-fashioned smoke in that race. We will keep discussions with Dave trucking along, more Truck Series news, and this one is good. Stuart Friesen confirmed Thursday on SiriusXM NASCAR Radio that he will be returning in the 52 Toyota Hallmark Friesen Racing in the Truck Series. The 4-time Truck Series winner is coming off a difficult 2025 campaign, as we know, after he was in a bad wreck in a dirt race in Quebec in July. And then Caden Honeycutt ended up taking that 52 truck and getting it in the championship 4, as we know. Not just from Grant's truck career, but his dirt racing career, he is a true driver through and through. Thrilled for Stort to be back in the garage. It's just great for the sport. More Truck Series news. Ross Chastain will return to Nice Motorsports in the Truck Series for an increased workload. As we know, Cup Series drivers will be able to go from 5 truck races to 8 in 2026. Kyle Busch will also run an expected 8 races with Nice. He is no longer associated with Spire Motorsports, which he was running his 5 truck races with the past couple seasons since he sold Kyle Busch Motorsports. Nice Motorsports helped Chastain eventually get promoted to the Cup Series. Saw him win in Pocono in the truck in Nice when he was full-time with them. Just a couple years ago, we saw Carson Hocevar in a Nice truck get into the championship 4. Unfortunately, Kyle Busch's dominance at the truck level dropped slightly after he went from the KBM truck to the Spire truck. Yes, he was still getting wins at the truck level, but not as a dominant rate as we've seen in the past. Nice brings a fast truck to the track. Believe that Busch running his truck races with Nice is going to elevate Kyle back to multiple Truck Series victory lanes in 2026, I believe. More news on the Truck Series side. A guy that we were just watching run modifieds at Turkey Derby, Luke Baldwin, has announced he is going to run in a 12-race schedule with Team Rheaume, formerly Rheaume Brothers Racing. Luke, son of famed crew chief Tommy Baldwin. In 2025, Luke went to victory lane in the modifieds, plus on the pro late model side, being a part of the ZMAX Car Tour Pro Late Model Championship with Rick Ware Racing. Last year, Baldwin made several starts in the Truck Series with ThorSport. Team Rheaume has been in the sport for a long time. They might not have all the resources like some of the top teams, but boy, they got the heart and worked their tails off. This is great for the young Baldwin. He gets that needed seat time at the truck level. I also believe this pairing will help elevate Team Rheaume to maybe get some top 15s, top 10s consistently. And in future seasons, will we see Baldwin go full-time in the trucks? I sure believe so. We'll be watching that. Last but not least, on Discussions with Dave, Part 1, the playoff format change heard round the world. NASCAR announces new championship format. We have been talking about this topic for 3-4 seasons at this point, and more as NASCAR did announce they were going to make a playoff format. NASCAR goes away from the playoff rounds, and it is no more win and you're in. NASCAR announced on Monday that the top 16 drivers in regular season points make the chase. Yes, we are back to the chase. The race will no longer grant automatic entries into the race. No more win and you're in, like we mentioned. With the points leader at the end of the regular season earning a 25-point advantage over second, the seedings of the chase start to follow. Number 1 seed, 2,100 points. 2, 2,075. 3, 2,065. And then in 5-point increments, so on, till we get to the full 16 drivers in the playoffs. There is no more eliminations. Now, let's get into it. I was a big fan of the old system with the eliminations. It truly made the playoffs must-watch TV in racing. But 100%, it took away from the regular season. Kyle Larson wins a race at the beginning of the season. I'm not paying attention if he's up front, at race Pocono or Watkins Glen in the middle of the year. I'm not. I was always looking at that point, the guys that haven't gotten a win. And how is that affecting the playoff points and so on? Returning to the chase not only improves the 10-race playoff as no one gets eliminated, and one thing that we were talking about, the negatives of a full 36 race point system, was with sponsors at the end of the year, with drivers not racing for anything and cars being blank. With no eliminations, and yes, the longer we get into the playoffs, just mathematically, some drivers will be out from the championship running. But eliminating fewer drivers solves the sponsorship issue, in my opinion. And we could be in a spot, come Homestead, there could be 4, 5, heck, the playoff race could be close. There could be 6 drivers in it. How exciting that would be. And of course, there's opposite ends of that spectrum too. Big fan going back to the chase, and it sounds like a lot of NASCAR fans, along with people in the industry, are too. Can't wait for this format. And that wraps up Discussions with Dave, Part 1. Super excited to bring on our next guest, Cup Series driver Noah Gragson. Several seasons ago, we saw Noah light up the Xfinity Series and win the Snowball Derby back in 2018. Here's what Noah had to say. Next guest we bring on the Splash of Gas is gearing up for another year at the Cup level, driving the 4 of the NASCAR Cup Series for Front Row Motorsports. Noah Gragson, thanks for joining the show, Noah.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, of course. As you know, the Cup Series schedule is a grind. Before we get into racing action, you used the downtime this offseason to get some traveling in. Saw on your socials you went to several locations, including Antarctica. How were all those experiences? Looked pretty neat.
Yeah, it was a good time. I had a lot of fun. Getting to see new places and make new memories. It was pretty surreal to be able to go down to Antarctica, once in a lifetime trip. So I loved it.
Good. Glad you have some downtime. Looking at next year, or looking at last year, and the 14 powered out, collecting 3 top 10s, including a P4 finish at Talladega in the spring. How would you sum up your 2025 Cup season, and what can you take away from it for next year?
Yeah, I think we had a tough season as far as results, but we had a great season as far as speed. I thought we brought fast cars to the racetrack for, majority of the season. Just we would get caught up in wrecks, and it made it tough to really finish races, and then you get behind with the algorithm, and you start. You qualify within the first couple of cars to go out, and the tracks, you dust off the track for the rest of the competitors. You're just kind of in a hole. But, for the most part, I thought we did a good job bringing speed to the racetrack. Just tough to get the finishes. I've never had a season like that in my career where it's just week after week, just getting caught up in wrecks. But, We got a new year this year. Got a new opportunity in 2026, and still got a great team. So extremely excited for it.
Got it. Fresh slate for sure in 2026. In 2023, you run with Legacy. 2024, you run with Stewart-Haas. Then you sign a multi-year deal with Front Row. This is the first time you'll be with the same team for back-to-back seasons, full-time at the Cup level. What's it like being a part of Front Row, and how excited are you for year 2?
Yeah, I'm super excited. I feel like, everybody really does a great job. We work hard, and everyone's really bought in, which I'm happy to see. It's been great to see everybody's hard work come together. We got great teammates with Todd and Zane, and just having a lot of fun working with those guys, and enjoying the process more than ever. Working out, in the simulator at the shop. I've really been enjoying being around these guys.
Got it. Appreciate that detail. last two seasons, you've Drew Blickensturfer atop the box, calling the shots. He's moving into the director of competition role. For this upcoming season, longtime race engineer Grant Hutchins will be your crew chief. The season hasn't started, but how's been the early transition for you two so far?
Yeah, no, it's been good. I really haven't had that much time to spend talking to Grant, other than just at the shop and whatnot. But yeah, he seems like a great guy. So we're really looking forward to working together. He's been cool so far. So I'm excited for it.
Got it. Same here. Big fan of late model racing. In addition to all three NASCAR series, I'm also cover the ASA Tour, and then of course at the end of each year the Snowball Derby. You won the Tom Dawson Trophy back in 2018. What was that experience like? And I know this year didn't go as planned with all the weather, but what's it like always returning to Pensacola?
Yeah, we had ignition problems. I was over at the late model shop this morning and had some ignition problems with our car this past year. But it's been great to be able to go down and race late models. I really enjoy the opportunity to get behind the wheel of anything, much less a super late model. Super late models are kind of my upbringing in short track racing. I enjoy going and seeing everybody in the late model world. Old friends, new friends. We make new memories every single time we go down at the Derby, and I have a lot of fun. Like you mentioned, we won the race back in 2018. That was unbelievable to be able to go to a race, and that's the biggest short track race in the country, and be able to win it and have my name on that Tom Dawson Trophy. That's so cool. So I'm really fond of going down there every year and really enjoy it as well.
Thank you for touching upon that. Snowball Derby weekend is super exciting and special. Hope to get back down there soon. You mentioned that you have your best finish of the year at Dega, and you were even leading laps in the fall race. You've passed wins at Daytona and Dega on the Xfinity Series on the super speedways. The Daytona 500 starts the regular season. You finished there 9th in 2024, and this will be your 6th start in the 500. What are your favorite memories from it so far? And you said you'll be doing some sim time. What else are you doing to prepare?
Oh, there's not a lot to prepare for Daytona, really, except for just watching the race back. And every single race seems like it's a little bit different. So just being up to date on what we want to do strategy-wise, working with the other 4 teammates. And as long as my front row teammates, Todd and Zane, they're both great super speedway racers. We work really well together on the track. And I think it's an action-packed week being in Daytona. It's unbelievable. You got, the biggest race of the year. It's our Super Bowl. So just try to enjoy as much as we can on that front. And when you get out there race day morning, it's pretty unbelievable walking out on the grid and seeing everybody that comes out to the track to support us. It's kind of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So just trying to take a second or two throughout the day, look around, just appreciate how cool it is to be able to race in the Cup Series on Sunday, especially with the Daytona 500.
It's definitely a spectacular for sure. Thank you for touching upon that. On the tracks, you have 4 more Cup Series starts. Your hometown track of Vegas, on average, sits second on that list. And between Darlington, Martinsville, and Bristol, you have 5 Xfinity wins. You see all 4 of those tracks in the first 8 races of the Cup Series schedule this year. How do you plan to have a consistent start for the regular season?
Yeah, just finishing races. That's the key to this deal is finishing races, finishing up front, getting points. We'll see. We tried to finish races last year and didn't do too good of a job, unfortunately, with it. We ran good. It didn't matter if we were leading at Talladega or running 7th at Vegas or 10th at Texas, 8th at Dover. It was one of those things where we got caught up in other people's messes, and that was kind of the story of last year. We're ready to rebound this year and turn that page of the chapter and get on to a new chapter, 2026. We're ready to work hard, finish races, run up front, and have a good time while we do it.
Got it. NASCAR announces the return to the chase yesterday. It's still a lot to break down and everything with the changing of the playoff system. Any initial thoughts on that?
I have not really looked at it too much, so I'm probably the wrong guy to ask right now.
Gotcha. No, I really do appreciate the honesty. So saw you were watching the Tulsa Shootout a couple weeks ago. What was covering that as well? Chili Bowl this week. Larson won the Race of Champs last night. Any predictions for that? Or anyone you're looking out for?
Probably Kyle Larson.
Gotcha. No, that's a good one for sure.
That'd probably be a pretty good pick, I'd say.
I'd appreciate that. And last question. When I interviewed Ricky Stenhouse Jr. last year, he went over how we matured on and off track since his Xfinity days. You guys are in different stages of your careers, but your last full-time Xfinity season was 2022. As a driver, how do you think you've improved since then?
Yeah, I think I just learn each and every day and try to take moments to grow as not only a race car driver, but as a person, and surround myself with good people. You're always aiming and shooting to be better each and every day. So there's challenges throughout the way and adversity, and I feel like if you take a learning lesson from each and every day and better yourself, you're only going to improve. So I'm just grateful to have good people around me and just trying my best each and every day.
Got it. Great advice. Really do appreciate all your time, Noah. I'm excited to be back in Daytona in a couple weeks myself. So we'll see you then, and thank you so much, and best of luck throughout this season. We'll talk to you hopefully soon.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Take
Thank
care.
you. Yep. See ya.
What a great time talking to Noah. Great insight we got from him. Greatly appreciate his time. Now for Paint Scheme of the Week. If you were paying attention to our trivia question this week, our Paint Scheme of the Week is Kyle Busch's famed M&M paint scheme. M&M's on the hood, the animated M&M's on the side. This one is just iconic. And boy, did Kyle put that paint scheme in victory lane a lot. Now for NASCAR history time. As we prepare for the clash at Bowman Gray, here is some history and some famous races at the Madhouse, Bowman Gray. Bowman Gray Stadium in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, has been the home to NASCAR-sanctioned racing since 1949 and previously hosted Cup Series events from 58 to 71. The iconic quarter mile encircles the football field used by the Winston-Salem University Rams and is set to welcome the Cup Series back when it hosts the season opening Clash, an exhibition race. Now we go over some famous races in the past at Bowman Gray. 1947. A paved track is added. NASCAR takes note. As racing events continued to draw massive crowds, the city of Winston-Salem made the decision to pave the stadium's quarter-mile dirt track. The improvement quickly caught the attention of NASCAR founders Bill France Sr. and Alvin Hawkins. The track hosted its first NASCAR-sanctioned race in May 18, 1949, and Bowman Gray soon established itself as a cornerstone venue in the sport's early history. 1969. Richard Petty's 100th career win. During its heyday in the early 50s through the early 70s, Bowman Gray played host to many of the sport's greatest figures. It was the proving ground where legendary moonshiner turned driver Junior Johnson launched his career, where stars like Bobby Allison, David Pearson captured Grand National victories, and where as a young Richard Childress first developed his passion for racing while working at the track at the concession stand. Yet, the stadium's most defining moment came in '69, when the King, Richard Petty, recorded his 100th victory of his storied career at the Madhouse, cementing the track's place in NASCAR history and adding yet another milestone to Petty's remarkable legacy. 2019. Bowman Gray Stadium gets a $10 million makeover. A major multi-year renovation project at Bowman Gray Stadium began in 2019, with nearly $10 million invested to modernize the historic facility. The upgrades feature new restroom facilities, a complete resurfacing of the quarter-mile track, and significant enhancements to the football infrastructure. The improvements ensure that the stadium can continue serving both racing fans and student athletes. And that wraps up this week's edition of NASCAR History Time. Now for Discussions with Dave, Part 2. Mentioned the Daytona ARCA testing when we were talking about Andy J coming back from that in the Allentown recap. ARCA teams would head out to Daytona for their annual preseason testing. 2 days of practice, Friday and Saturday. Notables on Friday. Fastest time was Gus Dean, a past Daytona ARCA winner. He was in a Nitro Motorsports car powered by Venturini. As we know, Venturini Motorsports sold to Nitro Motorsports at the end of this last ARCA season, and there was a lot of those Nitro cars up front. Jake Finch in their 15 entry, he was third. Isabella Robusto was fifth. Then the guy Allentown was waiting for, Andy Jankowiak in the Klaus Motorsports 71, he was eighth. Taylor Reimer was 10th. Jack Wood 11th. Max Reeves 12th. Looking towards Saturday, the fastest lap was held by Austin Green, who'll be full-time in the Xfinity Series. Cole Butcher was second fastest. Other notables top of the board on Saturday were Carson Brown, 7th quickest for him. Then Austin J. Hill, getting some ARCA seat time, was 12th quickest. In all honesty, not too much to take from these times. They were running single laps for the morning, and then they'll get drafting with some of their teammates. More of a shakedown day for most of the teams to get prepared for Daytona, where they will be racing in just under a month. Still more news at Kaulig Racing and their partnership with Ram in the Craftsman Truck Series. They announced that Butterbean Queen's truck will be sponsored by Cummins Incorporated. They are a global leader in power technology and one of America's most respected engineering and motorsports innovators for over the last century. This pairing of Cummins and Brendan Butterbean Queen, it couldn't be any more perfect in my opinion. If you know Butterbean on his come up through the sport, he was a Langley guy, super late models. He was working his day job as a longshoreman, and then racing took over, wins the Cars Tour, now wins the ARCA Tour. What can he do in a Ram? Super excited for Butterbean in a truck full time. Will be really cool if he can get that Cummins in victory lane. More silly season news. Super excited for this announcement. Friend of the podcast, Mason Massey, who we've seen the last couple of years, Xfinity, even saw him in the trucks at New Hampshire. He will be running full-time with McAnally Higgleman Racing in ARCA West. Well-deserved and earned by Mason, getting in a top ride in the ARCA West Series. Really excited for what he can do. Think he can be at the front of most of these races. And that wraps up Discussions with Dave for this episode. Now, let's get into Chili Bowl Nationals. First, the format. We just saw 2 weeks before Tulsa Shootout, they were in Oklahoma running at the Sagnet Center on the dirt. For the Chili Bowl Nationals, there will be over 380 drivers entered in this year's race over 5 nights of preliminary action, which sets the stage for the main event on Saturday. During the 5 qualifying nights, drivers will be looking to earn a maximum number of passing points during the heat and qualifying races. The more passing points they earn, the better starting position they'll have during their qualifying night, A-main, and so on. The 40 drivers gaining the most passing points in their heat races will advance to qualifying races. The rest of the drivers will go to C mains. For qualifying races, the top 24 in points, 6 in each qualifier, will be inverted, the flip, to give them a chance to race for more passing points. At the end of qualifiers, the top 16 in combined passing points between their heat and qualifying race will advance to the night's A main feature. Those who do not transfer to the A main after qualifiers will be placed in B mains. The top 4 finishers in each C main will be added back to the B mains, and the top 4 finishers in the B mains will be added to the rear of the starting lineup of the A main. From there, it's 30 laps of racing with only top 2 finishers qualifying for Saturday's A main. Everyone who does not qualify will be placed in the alphabet soup on Saturday. Saturday's racing will begin with either P mains or O mains, depending on the amount of cars that will be entered. Drivers will attempt to work their way through the alphabet soup of all the letters of the main, one step at a time, with hopes of making the A main. There will be 2 B main features that will each lock in top 7 finishers to the A main, giving us the 24-car field for the 40-lap main event. Now, the drivers to look out for Chili Bowls. Start with one of the guys that was just in Daytona. Saw him at the Clyde Hart at the beginning of the year. He was victorious there. Gavin Boschel will be in the Kyle Busch Motorsports 51B. What can Gavin do in that car? Ty Gibbs, Cup driver of the 54. Saw him just at the shootout. We were talking about it last episode. He said how much fun he's having doing the dirt stuff. Exciting to see Ty up front in some of these races. Briggs Danner, just won in Allentown. What can he do in Chili Bowls? Excited to see him race out in Oklahoma. Ryan Burnell, last year Burnell was part of the incredible Thursday night finish, which saw him unseat Christopher Bell for the final lock-in position behind Tanner Thorson. It led him to run 4th in the Chili Bowl Championship A main and ultimately to his second top 5 finish in the finale. Snyder Jr., we went over the heartbreak for him in the Tulsa Shootout. Can he rebound? JJ Yealy came up through the dirt ranks and eventually made it to Cup Series. Now he's part-time, making a few starts a year for NY Racing. Yealy, year in, year out, has been a Chili Bowl contender since the mid-90s. What can he do this time? Kaylee Bryson is back in Oklahoma. We were talking about her during the Tulsa Shootout. She's proven herself in the USAC ranks. Can she do it in Oklahoma? Emerson Axum, at only 21 years old, this Franklin, Indiana native has built an absurd resume in Tulsa at the Expo Center. He's already amassed 23 A-main starts at the Tulsa Shootout with 4 Golden Drillers on his mantle, and he's picked up his first top 5 back in 2023 as an 18-year-old. Can the rising star deliver? Tanner Thorson. Back in 2022, Thorson was the man who defeated Kyle Larson, C. Bell, and CV for his first Golden Driller. One to look out for. We were just talking about him going head-to-head with Corey Day in Australia, and that's Buddy Kofoid. For 6 years now, Kofoid has been a contender for the Chili Bowl Golden Driller each year. Just mention his name, Corey Day. When we had him on the show a couple weeks ago, he said he could race a dirt car with his eyes closed. What can the young Day do in Oklahoma? Logan CV. After going back-to-back in 2023 and 2024, CV was dethroned by Kyle Larson last year. Should be another battle for sure. Last but not least, the 2 big guns from the Cup Series. You know who we're talking about. Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson. This year's Chili Bowl should be another grand one. Really excited. Everything will be on Flow Racing. Please check that out. Now for trivia answer time. This episode's question is, Kyle Busch has ran a lot of paint schemes throughout his career, but he is most known for his iconic M&M paint scheme. How many Cup Series wins does Kyle Busch have in the M&M's paint scheme on the Cup Series level? Answer is Busch has 34 Cup Series wins with M&Ms on his car. Now, predictions for Chili Bowl. So many talented drivers in this one. Was thinking many different directions, many different outcomes. In the end, I think the main event is going to come down to Logan Seavey, Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, and Corey Day. In the end, give me the guy that went back-to-back recently. Not last year, but in 2023 and 2024. We mentioned his name. Give me Logan Seavey to win 2026 Chili Bowl Nationals. We will be watching that and keeping you updated as the week progresses, and of course, on Saturday. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at disneydavw@verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Hope everyone has enjoyed this episode and gets to watch some of the racing action from Oklahoma, and hope everybody is gearing up for the upcoming NASCAR season. Super excited. Till next time, everybody, Splash of Gas out.